Hi, welcome back to West Coast Geeks. I'm your host, Joaquin. How we doing, people? So today's video is a quick review of villains, minions, and their tactics. So I got this book because I really have enjoyed the series by the Game Masters, and while their villains are some of them are pretty interesting, that's not the main reason why I bought the book. They have an adventure at the end, and it's okay. But when I looked into the tactic part, that's what really caught my eye. And so, as a DM, you don't want to do similar things with some monsters, right? You want to have a little bit of variety so that when they're fighting like a gray ooze, there's a big difference between a tactic of like a gray ooze, which is just going to be some relentless creature trying to kill your characters, your party characters, or your players, and the difference between goblins or kobolds who are going to be sneaky, who are going to run away, who are going to use the environment to their advantage. So I thought I'd show you guys a quick review of some of the villains that they have here. Okay, so we're going to start off here with the table of contents, and you have the villains and their minions. You have creature tactics, which is the main reason why I picked up this book. One-shot adventures, and of course the index. So they have a collection of 25 villains, and Vask the Serpent, aka Boar the Blacksmith. And so you got your little GM notes right here. And they give you goals and motivation, story hook and building tension, encounters, tactics, generic stats. So whether you're playing like Pathfinder or Dungeons and Dragons, it could fit easily into there because they don't really give you a class that they are. So up on top, it's like Vask the Serpent, armor class 18, medium humanoid, hobgoblin, lawful evil. Um, so I'm pretty sure the humans are the same way, so we're going to find out. And I do like the artwork on here. Nicodemus, the Vermin King. Some cool art there. Woldrick, Woldrick, the Cannibal Cleric. So with that name, you would think it would say cleric up here. And it doesn't. It just says medium humanoid, dwarf, chaotic evil. He has a ring of might shielding. So they don't even give you like a level. It just says that he can at will cast detect magic, disguise self, mage armor. So they're not even putting cantrips. So I don't know if that's a copyright issue because at the end of this book, they don't have the usual OSL. Is it the OSR? Yeah, I think it's the OSR. They don't have that in the back. They don't even have the orc one. So I think they've just found out what wizards can't copyright and have just added their own, and then you'll fill in the rest. But it's like Ray of Enfeeblement, Hellish Rebuke, Whole Person, Counter Spell, and it just says once per day. And then it does give you your DC save. It gives you like your attack, so those are all like, 5th edition, Pathfinder. Um, God, I'm sorry. I'm getting a little tongue tied. Patius or Patius, the Triad. I was reading about her and I thought she was pretty interesting because I have used not as a main villain like they're having you here with her, but I have used some Dryad who at first helped the player characters, but then betrayed them. I know, shocker. The Child. So if you want to have some kind of like Game of Thrones, like evil Mormont character or villain, there you go. For those of you who watch Game of Thrones. Thalen, the Forest Master and Evil Ranger. Breezik, the Miracator, Warlock of the Crown. You know, they're typical. And Harkin the Red, so you got a female pirate captain. Ismail, Grace, Master of Chains. I apologize if I mispronounced any of these. Valatis or Valatai, the Decider. I haven't gone through and read all of these. I was mainly reading more for the tactics, but I'm starting to go back and reading some of these characters' backgrounds, because all of them are somewhat interesting to me, and a lot of them are similar to villains that I've already created since I've been playing since 1980 at the age of like 8. So I've had similar villains that they have in this book. We got the ringleader. I don't even know how to pronounce her name. I blame you, Eric, for not being here to pronounce his name. Eatine, or it, you know, I'm not going to try. You know what I'm saying, people. So she's a gypsy, and as you can see here, they have their carnival that comes into town. Umog, the cave master. I kind of like, so Baldur's Gate, they introduced you to the fungus type creatures, and I thought they did a good job with the quests. And so here's a creature that's not necessarily a villain, because I think some of these are just like unique monsters or encounters where I don't know if you would be making this a long-term villain, because even though they have suggested level of scaling and tactics and building tensions and encounter, unless it's going to be some kind of Underdark where this would be a mini boss in the sense of this is the first boss that your player characters would face, like levels 1 through 3. Grail the Tinker. So you got artificial. This one I thought was cool. Volapes, the 5-headed Renacide. Or Renegade. No, it ain't Renegade. Renacide. I love the artwork on there. Let's see if I can get the light to shine better. So that looks cool. The Desolated Grim. Again, the artwork on here is nice. A nice use of color and contrast. So this might be something I could stick on the group at one point. Griffin, the Orc Queen. Now this is something you could, you know, build as a mid-level boss on your way to the big boss. But the Orc Queen, that sounds pretty cool. She looks somewhat interesting. We have this person called, or group called The Created. Hafil, the Giant of Parthun Pass. So I believe she's a fire giant, and yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. And basically, she's like a guardian of a pass. For those of you who are familiar with Mighty Python, think of the Black Knight. It's only a flesh wound. Margol, the Troll. An intelligent troll. I've used those several times. Ara, the Black Venom. Medusa is a good villain to throw at a character like early beginning or she can also be a Patreon that they don't know because she always wears a mask. You can have something similar to that, or you can just fight a Medusa in their lair. Lord Sebastian, the Undead King. So if you don't want to play necessarily go into Ravenloft, you could have an area, desolated area, that is ruled by either a undead or a vampire lord. Sebastian here happens to be a vampire. Thyro the Fey Dragon. So evil Fey Dragon, always interesting. Got her legendary actions. Kyranik or Kinnick, the Debauched. So we got a little demon or a devil, but no, it's a demon. And then Veltamir, the Abysal Hag. So there. So this could be a long-term campaign where she might be trying to look for an artifact, and the group has been hired to beat her to it or steal it from her, one of the two. I mean, there's so many things you can do with that. The Colossal of Charnex. Yeah, they got that glare there. That's a nice encounter. Nether the Roth, the Undying. What kind of spellcaster this is? Could be a necromancer, but I don't really see that many necromancers. They have the staff of the Magi, or the Magi, I think it's Magi. So it's most likely like a wizard. That could be a campaign villain. And so this is what really drew me into the book. So, creature tactics. And so my last video, I was talking about challenge ratings and how challenge ratings are just a guideline. But the reality is tactics dictate the challenge rating. So you can throw a group of like 6 or 7 kobolds at a mid-level, like 5th all the way up to 10th. And you can have a mess with them. And just because their challenge rating is like, I don't know, like 1 or half or 1/4, whatever they are. If you give them like wands of magic missiles, if you have them steal their bag of holding and replace it with a regular bag that looks like their bag, but has a spear of annihilation, so when they put their hand in there, they lose their hand and any magical rings or bracelets they might have. So you can get really creative with simple creatures depending on the level of your players. They talk about balancing, and here's the other thing. They talk about know your players, balancing. So they give these roles like brutes in the tactics for animated armor. And here's, like, they have a, like a chimera, and then they have the minion status. Minions of masters who keep them well fed and supplied with treasures. So this was like really cool to help new DMs and like veterans to myself, just to come up with your own ideas on how you want to run these creatures. Like demons and devils, you need sometimes, you want to treat each demon type with its own personality. And this is what really caught my eye. And so we got the Bone Devils and this cool art here. And Chain Devils. and the Horn Devils, and Ice Devils, and Eries, and then I passed the Demon section where I'm just kind of like going through this. Because I wanted to keep this around 10 minutes, and it's already way past that. So we have dragons, and they talk a little bit about their tactics, but you can find that in other sources. We got the drow, the different drow, like the drow mages, the drow warriors, the dryad, the dungar, goblins, which I love, and the kobolds. And we got the hags, green hags, sea hags, night hags, hag coverings. Kobolds, like I said, are my favorite to harass the party characters with. We have a lich. So when you're doing like lich tactics, it's better to try to come up with like a simple paragraph of who the lich is. So was the lich a wizard? Was it a mage? Or a cleric? And build up your background with that, and that's how you play the lich. Because really, the lich is just one of those spellcasters that's now a very powerful undead. We got the Lythroats. Like I said, I really do like the artwork on here. Mana core. The tactics of the undead are nice too. Especially when you're dealing with the more intelligent undead. And this is what I'm talking about, like the oozes and black puddings and gray and the gelatinous cube, and we got ogres. And then we got orc tactics and elite orcs. And got vampire spawn. That's also nice. And this is zombies. I believe this is zombies. But this is cool art right here. We got tactics for willows. Creating villains is kind of short, and there's actually a book they did in like I want to say it was like first edition. It did a really good job. But for 5th edition, this is really good. How to make a minion. And then we have the one shot. So that's it, people. I know I haven't made a video in a moment, but I'm actually going to be doing a follow-up video because it's really going to talk about is motivation. And so I hope you enjoyed this short video and review. And leave a comment below. Do you plan on getting this book? Do you already have this book? Do you enjoy these series? I do like a story is only good as its villain. Not every campaign has to have a main villain. You know, they could just be off doing different things. But every now and then you should have a good villain just to spice things up with your group. Sorry. I feel like a little under the weather. So with that, people, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you later.